But
The universe is here. It is not eternal. It came at a certain point, and that is the reason most of the scientists.
I'm a scientist. Most of the.
Are you a cosmologist?
I'm not. No, I'm an astrobiologist, but I studied astrophysics.
Yeah, but if you study that, then you know that no credible scientist has evidence of an infinite universe.
I'm telling you, like, check out the latest research on the website.
Yeah, that's
They're changing the numbers.
My friend, look, the numbers will change. I have no problem with that. My problem is with the claim that it is infinite. No credible scientist has evidence for that.
But based off the equipment we have now, the more sensitive the equipment gets, the more we'll learn and understand.
Okay, so you learn more. The increase, you will either increase the age or you might decrease it. But no one with a credible, they will not have evidence to show what was there before the universe.
No.
Exactly.
I don't think
so science. So this is beyond the scope of science to answer this question. What was that before the universe?
That's where you guys come in.
No. That's where inference comes in. Because philosophically, using inference, using logic, you can deduce that the universe didn't come by itself.
I know, but the absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. You heard that statement?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So
have you heard the statement? Nothing can create something. Cannot create something?
But that's not an inference.
That is inference because nothing doesn't exist in reality. It's a concept.
Right. If something didn't create something, then what is that something? And who created that something? Who created that something?
So anyone, like the way he asked. No, it's not. It is only if you say that this something is not eternal. If the something is eternal, then there is no question of it being created. See what I mean?
That's right. That's
the definition of God.
That's an easy answer. I know, but that's an easy answer. But we don't know. In reality, that's why we build equipment and telescopes and learn and understand. We keep an open mind.
Yeah, but you're assuming once again that science is able to answer questions about the metaphysical. Science, it is beyond the scope of science.
The question is
but
that
you are not reading.
science,
You are not reading right.
wisdom, the true meaning of wisdom is when you say I don't know.
You are not
That's
reading
the
right.
true meaning of wisdom.
But that's not the answer.
But you're saying you know.
But you don't have the answer. You can't pretend you have
Okay,
the
let me give you.
You pretend you
Anyone,
have the
no, that's good.
You're saying the same thing
Anyone who
over
says
again.
I don't know.
Facts too. You don't have facts either. You're just saying
No, but
that-
but hold on. Anyone who says I don't know, they are free to say that. They're free to say that, no problem. And in fact, sometimes it is a wise thing to do. However,
that's what wisdom is.
However, that is not the answer. Shall I tell you why? Imagine you are attending a test, an exam, and every question you have answered, I don't know. Would you expect a pass mark or a fail mark? Why is that? Because that's not the answer.
But that's not a valid analogy.
It is a very valid analogy because anyone who says I don't know, they are appealing to ignorance and they are just saying I don't know, but that is not an answer.
But from that ignorance we learn. Then we start to
I know, so until you learn, you will maintain I don't know. However, never say that is the answer. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying that is not it. No, that is not an answer. Otherwise, you wouldn't get a fail in your exam.
But if you follow that philosophy,
I gave an analogy. You didn't hear.
If we say I know to everything, then what's the point of learning anything?
No one says I know to everything. When did I say that? I never made that claim.
But if you know there's a God, then you know everything.
No. God knows everything. I don't know everything. Just because I claim God knows, it doesn't mean that I know everything.
But if you claim that you know God, then God knows everything. And
How you are researching how they have created anything. He's telling you who created everything.
All
These are two questions.
All I'm saying is that look, because nothing is able to create nothing, because nothing doesn't exist. So the other alternative, plausible alternative is that there must be something, and this something needs certain attributes for it to fit that particular answer. That it needs a will, it needs to be eternal, it needs to be ever existing, and the only answer to that would be that it is God.
I hope you're right, but I'll say I don't know because it goes back to an infinite progression.
It doesn't go
who
because
created God?
No, because by definition God is uncreated. That means you don't know what God is. As soon as you ask the question, who created God, it means you believe in a God who is not eternal. If God is eternal, why does he need a creator? Come on and that's a logical question
But you saying
to ask you.
comes from where did God come from? God came
I
from
just told
something.
you, God is eternal.
Right, but you're giving me a definition, an ultimatum. and saying this
I
is
have to
it.
give you a definition of what I believe in.
These countries are
That's the
going
key
through
word.
several situations.
Yeah, I do believe, I do know.
I don't believe in it. I'm open to evidence.
If God is able to look, if there.
We have to be open to
By the way, let me ask you
evidence.
this: are you open to the possibility there is a God?
There's things
If there's evidence for it, absolutely.
Okay, so what kind of evidence do you need for an immaterial thing?
I don't know.
Not a thing, sorry, I would say an immaterial entity. Because what you're doing right now is you're expecting science to answer a question about something which is not from this material world. Science only deals with the material world, you know that. Yes, so you don't expect something which is beyond material.
Islamic
Yes?
principles.
I don't know what you mean by material. Like physical material things.
Yeah, like tangible.
Civilization is Islamic civilization.
Well, no, I mean, does it come from a material or non-material?
Why should
Something
go? I
that's
go. If I need to go, then I go.
non-material or
I have to come here for have a good life. Sorry.
Okay, so what I'm asking is that if, it is basically like me asking you to look for plastic using a metal detector. Yeah? So when you use science to look for metaphysical entities, then you're using the wrong tool. Because science is beyond the scope of science to look for the metaphysical. It is not within the scope of science. So as soon as you start using science to start looking for God, you're using the wrong tool. Just like you're using a metal detector to detect plastic.
Well, I mean, I live on Earth, so the only thing I can do is measure with things that measure material things.
Do you have consciousness?
Yes.
Is that immaterial?
Yes, but we don't.
That's on Earth, my friend.
But we don't know what consciousness is. We're still working on the conscious question.
Brilliant.
That's the biggest question.
Brilliant. You know, you're one of the very few who actually admitted to this, that we don't know what's consciousness.
We don't know.
And that's the reason. Exactly. That's the reason they call it the hard problem of consciousness. Because every question you ask, my friend, every question that you're asking me, it actually emanates from your consciousness.
But someday somebody will come to you and say it's all neurochemistry.
No, neurochemistry
It's
itself
all neurochemistry.
that itself is not metaphysical. That
But
neurochemistry.
neurochemistry will explain. Right now, there's artificial intelligence coming. They'll be able to
That's just
predict.
program. It's just a program.
But it'll predict your consciousness. It'll predict your likes, your wants,
Consciousness.
your needs,
I
your
need
love,
evidence,
your
not
passions,
not
your
prediction.
music.
We don't need to predict consciousness. We already know we are conscious.
Correct.
We don't need to predict it.
But if an AI can predict what your consciousness desires or wants, what's left?
AI itself is without consciousness. How is it going to predict consciousness?
It's going to be its own consciousness. It's going to try
No.
to figure you out.
Hold on. If you think
It's an algorithm.
If you think
That's
AI,
what
wait a minute. If you think an
biochemistry is.
algorithm is conscious, then you don't know what's AI.
No, not yet it isn't, but it's getting there.
Yeah, but that is like the science gap,
Even
the gap of science, you know.
Even the brain works by an algorithm. The biochemistry in your brain works by an algorithm.
No. Your brain is beyond all algorithm.
No.
It's beyond that.
It's based on a biochemical algorithm.
You know your DNA?
Yes.
Your DNA is a program.
Correct. See,
Yes.
that's more evidence that
I know,
works.
but not algorithm. There's a difference. Your DNA has programmed your attributes in it.
Right.
It'll define the attributes of your progeny. Yes. Where did that DNA? Where did that code come from? By itself?
That's what I work on.
Yeah, but where did it come from, my friend?
So the research that I've done
Yeah.
shows that right now we can go from something that's inanimate, inorganic, like a rock or a clay or a mud, to things that's self-assembled. Self-assembly is possible. Take a look at a snowflake. How does a snowflake come to be? It crystallizes into a very complicated pattern.
Yeah. Beautiful,
Life-
isn't it?
Right. Matter can't come from the same way naturally. It can assemble itself based off the molecules and the atoms that ring to one another in a specific pattern.
Yeah, but the question is, where did this? You know.
You're going to go back to like where do the
No.
molecules and the
My
atoms
question
come
is,
from?
look, anything that is designed, like even your umbrella over there,
Yeah.
even your phone.
Yes.
Yes. If I were to ask you, it just popped into existence one day. Would you believe that? Anything that is has design,
Right.
and that includes nature, that includes everything in nature, that includes your DNA,
Right.
that includes your retina, that includes your hair follicles, everything.
I've heard this analogy.
Yeah, all of this. The question is,
who's the clockmaker?
no,
Right.
yeah. So if something is designed, then it must have a designer, and that is the only logical
Right.
inference you can deduct from it, derive from this.
Who made exactly? That's what I'm
Say again, say again.
Who made the designer?
Who made the designer?
Yes.
Okay, if you're talking about
Infinite
God,
regression.
wait, if you're talking about God, God by definition is eternal. So the question that you ask is irrelevant to God. No. Yeah, but
I
you.
don't believe God, okay?
But
If God made this world, who made the God? Everything.
but you don't know the definition of God.
Somebody
Then.
made this
Yeah.
one, okay? Who made that? Who made
I've already answered your question, but you're not listening. I said you do not understand the definition of God.
I know, but I can't.
By definition, God is eternal. He doesn't need a creator or a designer.
Right, and by
It's
that,
not
I know.
existing, that's
And by-
it, period.
So why are you asking who designed him then? If
And
you
by
don't
that-
believe it,
right.
that's
But-
silly, isn't
and
it?
by that, when you say God is eternal and infinite, and then I can't argue with you anymore on that.
Of course you can't, because
Right.
that's the answer.
Is this your church, the assembly church?
It's a colleague of mine. It's
You're from which university?
He's actually Cronin. He's here in I think the UK.
Okay, so
He came up with this assembly, and that's literally hot off the presses. Read that paper.
What's your name, if you don't mind me asking?
Nino.
Nino? So, what, are you like a famous scientist or something?
No, but I worked at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory.
Right. And you published any papers?
Yes.
Which one?
Most of it on origins of life.
Origin of life. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, look, origin of life, before even the origin of life, and that's the reason I ask you, do you think scientists will ever be able to answer the question of the origin of the universe?
That's what cosmologists work on.
But do you think they will ever have an answer to that? Yeah?
I don't know.
Because in order to do that,
I don't think humans can ever figure that out. I think the scope and scale of the universe it's beyond your comprehension, my comprehension.
absolutely, absolutely, I totally agree with that, and that's the reason.
About Penrose's theory of consciousness. I mean, Roger Penrose is coming with the theory of consciousness, hypothesis and quantum.
Right, so he's
I'm a
working.
physicist.
I know Roger Penrose. He's working on the consciousness problem, but they're going. So now cosmologists are attacking this from the scale of quantum mechanics, elementary particles, sub-elementary particles. How do these particles work together? How do they do things that are beyond the scope of everyday life? They can pass through the wood of the umbrella and come out the other side. There's something called quantum tunneling.
But that's only at a minute, molecular level.
Extremely
Exactly.
small
So
level.
that's the reason. You see, look, when we talk about the universe, we know that the universe exists, and we can never believe that it exists. It just popped into existence one day by itself. So there must be, look, for the reason the scientists are still searching for this is because they cannot just be satisfied with the fact that the universe just exists. They need to go beyond that and to find the source.
It's an innate human curiosity. You can't
Absolutely.
help it.
Absolutely.
We have to keep searching.
We,
Learn
you know, the
new
Muslims, we
things.
call it the fitra. So we have this inbuilt, inner disposition.
Innate curiosity.
Yeah, the disposition for us to that there must be a creator, there must be something. Everything that exists today, it must have a cause, and everything that, look, for example,
For every cause, there's an effect.
Yeah, for every cause there's an effect. You heard of the Kalam cosmological argument?
Which one?
The Kalam cosmological argument? Yes. So it's quite a popular argument. What it postulates is that everything that exists must have a cause. Yes, the universe exists. Therefore it must have a cause. Now the question is, what is this cause? Because before the universe, like I said, the scientists have no clue. They cannot go beyond space and time. And without the universe, they cannot have space and time, can they? So they can only speculate. They can only, say, okay, maybe this, maybe that. But they can never be definite because they will never have empirical evidence for it.
Maybe you're right. I don't know, but I would say keep looking on the James website. You're going to see some
It's a
amazing,
Euclid
beautiful
now.
photos.
Euclid's go there. James' website now, the long history now. The Euclid telescope is up there, and he's
Yes.
gathered in a 5 hours time so many galaxies in a one shot. Yeah,
Exactly.
Euclid.
Yeah. Look, if you want to understand God's universe and its beauty, look at those photos.
By the way, have you actually Have you looked into Islam?
Have I looked at this?
Yeah. Have you read the Quran?
I've never read the Quran. I've
Yeah.
never read the Bible.
You know,
I mean,
you look like a person who's got an open mind. Why don't you look into the Quran?
I mean, I read everything. I don't.
So read the Quran then.
I'll-
Would you accept a copy if we give you as a gift? A copy of the Quran? Anybody? Okay, so let me get one for you. But you see, look, at the end of the day, as I mentioned to that gentleman, you know, one day we all are going to die. Yes, and there's no doubt about that. Whether you believe in God or you reject God or you accept God, regardless of it. This is a fact which no one can deny. Now, if we both died and that was the end of us, then there wouldn't be a problem, would there? For either you or for me. It's a free gift for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's in English, so
Oh, good. I've never actually read it. I'm curious to read it.
yeah, alhamdulillah. So what I'm saying is that if we both die and there's the end of it, then neither of us lost anything.
Right.
But you see, if we flip the coin
Yeah.
and that we
Give
die,
yourself a chance.
yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. If we die and that there is indeed a life after that,
Yes.
and there is an angels, there are angels. There's hell and heaven, and there is God. Yes. Then who's taking the bigger risk here? Yeah. All right. So, no, honestly, this is something that we should actually take seriously, because if that was a reality, then at least we as people who believe in God, we say that okay, we have actually at least done something and prepared ourselves for the next life. And by the way, the next life is going to be eternal. It's not going to be temporary like this world. So we might live for 80, 100 years maybe, you know, if you're fortunate, but the afterlife is going to be eternal. So it is like, sorry, are you from the US? Where are you from?
Originally, yeah.
Yeah, from the US. So when you came to UK, let's say if you had a stopover, say in, I don't know, give me something in between. Maybe Iceland.
Yeah.
Let's say Iceland, yeah? And so if Iceland was your transition or your transit stop, when you pack from the US to come here, which is your final destination is the UK, would you pack for Iceland or would you pack for UK? Yeah, because that's your final destination. That makes more sense. That's why, as Muslims, what we are saying is that with all this, you know, talking
going on,
yeah, about
what's the final destination?
about the origin of the universe, the origin of mankind, the origin of life. We can discuss this all day.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we will die, regardless of all that scientific discoveries or whatever is the mysteries out there. But this thing, if it's real, the life after death is real, and which is going to be eternal, then shouldn't we prepare for that, just like you prepared for your final destination?
Well, I think one of the good aspects of religion is that the way we prepare for that is by all the positive things we do to help other people. That's a good side of religion, where like it helps other people. Whether it's churches taking in people or mosques taking in whatever. I think that's something we should do. That's how you
But I think really, I don't think that only applies to religion. There are lots of non-religious people who are also charitable, who also give. But when it comes to morality, then yes, you're right. The religion, we are rooted into at least the scriptures that we believe in. Like this lady, I think she's a Christian, I'm a Muslim, so she abides by the Bible, I abide by the Quran. We have the do's and the don'ts in our scriptures. But you see, for people who do not have this grounding, they will always depend on their own whims and desires. And that can be wrong.
They said it leads to nihilism. I know. Well,
Yeah, that too.
but
That too.
You know what? I'll show. I think that people innately know what's right and wrong, and I'll give you an example. My mother-in-law, she was walking right by Westminster Avenue.
Right.
She fell and slipped on the floor. The first lady that came to help pick her up was a lady in Muslim garb,
In hijab, yeah.
and she picked her up.
Alhamdulillah.
Because we know internally what's right and wrong. That somebody fell, we should know. It doesn't care what religion is.
You're absolutely right.
That's
To help people, I mean, this look, even one of the main principles in Islam is that it's Amar bil Maruf wa Nahy anil Munkar, which is to enjoin good and to forbid evil. This is our principles, yeah. But I think the brother wants to say something.
Yeah. So very quickly.
Yes.
I just came at the end. But are you an agnostic?
Yeah.
Yes. So in order for you to reject the existence of God, you have to first